Nancy Pelosi says that hair salon set her up. She said she went in to ask to look like Bo Derek, and they made her look bad. She ended up looking like Nancy Pelosi. Good morning, everybody. It's mornings. LALATE. Hope you're good and safe. You almost made it to the weekend. One more day. You're almost there. Let's get it. The toast is tossing. The toast is tossing. The toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. The coffee's brewing. I'm here. You're here. And guess where senators will be next week? They will be in Senate. Really incredible, great news as we start the Thursday morning. Your second stimulus check and stimulus bill is just around the corner. Senators reconvene next week, and with that, they will introduce a new bill. The new bill will have your second stimulus check in there, so congratulations. Let's get to all the incredible details and breaking news overnight and minutes ago about new labor numbers. Boy, that was unforeseen. All right, let's get to the details. Americans anxiously await the arrival of something next week. No, it's not the latest Kylie Jenner nail salon nail polish. It's the latest bill for second stimulus. It will be introduced next week to the Senate by Senate Republicans, for Senate Republicans and Senate Democrats. And what a lot of people don't realize is that this is really key for a lot of people, not just the people who are writing it, because Senate Democrats and Senate Republicans are up for the battle of their life for re-election within just a few weeks. And so sitting around and saying children going hungry is not going to get them reelected for purposes of Senate seats, as I will be certainly hashtagging all weekend long, and I'm sure you will. Seats for stimulus. You don't give us stimulus, we don't give you a seat. It's as simple as that. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. The second stimulus bill will be introduced next week as really a two-part phase introduction. Phase 1 next week will be $500 billion, as first reported on this channel. The bill will include about 5 items, 3 of which concern you. The first one is stimulus checks. The second one is extension of FPUC. The third one is protection in schools. The fourth one is testing. And the fifth one potentially may be airlines. The bill tracking time is proposed as following. Mark Meadows proposes the bill to be introduced next week and to get approved within 1 week's time by both the House and Senate. If you've wondered, and I've answered it as well, Temple Doom will get the second round. After it's approved by the Senate, it heads to the House, and Temple Doom will try to open the belfry and let the bats out and say, don't vote for anything. But insiders think that that's just not going to happen. They think it's going to get Democrats skipping over the aisle to get these approved, because we've seen Democrats over the last 2 weeks saying, we need extended unemployment benefits to be approved. We need stimulus checks to go out. And you know why this is so incredibly important at that time? Because within about a week of then, that's when LWA expires, and you need FPUC 2.0 to start right away. The timing is very key. All right, let me get to the details before we get to the backstory. An incredible breaking news minutes ago. The stimulus check will be $1,200. It'll be $1,200 whether you're an individual, or $1,200 if you are a a multi-personality person. You know, if you're schizo, you'll still get $1,200 check. Married couples will get $2,400. Mistresses, I don't know about that. I haven't gotten the briefing about that. Maybe the $2,400 stimulus check for a married couple will also be broadened if there's more people in the family. So if there's more people in the family, up to a family of 5, $1,200 each individual, likely. $6,000 family of 5. The 3 issues that remain uncertain are dependents, child support, And finally, the size of the family. First, child support. It's unclear whether child support will be taken out. Republicans do want to take it out. Democrats don't. This could certainly change by next week. And finally, the issue of dependents, $1,200 for minor and adult dependents under Democrat proposals. Republicans, we just don't know what's going to happen next week. So that is the incredible great news. FPUC will be extended. It'll be 2.0, FPUC 2.0. We extend all the way to December 31st. It's likely to be $400. It will likely to be retroactive. It will likely encompass the surplus over LWA. You don't have to repay LWA. It's yours to keep, just like that hairstyle that Nancy got. It's hers to keep whether she likes it or not. And that it'll be $200 likely, or $100 on top of what you're getting for LWA. If you're not getting LWA, you keep all the FPUC, all towards yourself. All right, so that's that. Viewers have dropped a couple comments. They say, when is it going to become a law next week? It's not going to become law next week. I've specifically said that Meadows is tracking, is saying he's introducing it next week, and that'll be approved within 1 week's time. People have said, what day is the bill being introduced? We certainly don't know that as well. I know it's very anxious, but people are actually asking the hour, minute, and the moment that something's going to be landing in their bank accounts. Don't know, don't see, haven't been told. When I do, I will update you. Now, here is the other twist overnight. Boy, I never saw stuff like this coming. First, this has everything to do with stimulus. It has everything to do with stimulus because these are numbers that people that are on the Senate or House floor look at and argue over when they're talking about giving stimulus and how much stimulus. Ready for this? You know what Thursday mornings are. Yep, new jobless claims announced minutes ago. Remember, the pandemic started in March. Before the pandemic, new jobless claims, number of unemployment claims newly per week was 200,000, the lowest since the Great Depression. Incredibly low number. As soon as the pandemic hit, it shot up to 1 million new claims per week. The number stayed there for upwards of 20 weeks, with the exception of 2 weeks ago, it dropped to 900,000. Last week was a real shoot up, 1.1 million. It was not a good number. Well, it came in, and guess where it landed? You see me smiling. It was not a million. It was not 900,000. It was 881. Boy, a monstrous drop. It was 1.24 million last week, and now we're at 881. This is an insanely strong, sharp improvement of 300,000 in a week. Now, 881 is not a good number, understand, but this shows incredible progress. So what does this mean? It says the insured employment rate, a basic calculation of those getting benefits against the labor force, fell by 8.8 percentage points to 9.1%. Now, I gotta tell you, if this was not more complicated, it's a little bit difficult how to calculate the number because the number is based upon a change of methodology by the Labor Department that takes in consideration seasonal factors. So while it may look good, it may be a little bit more complex than that. All right, so let me get to the next issue. Pandemic unemployment assistance. Really, this is what's fascinating as we talk about it right now, is that PUA cases rose sharply last week to 759, an increase of 151,000 new people on PUA. Increase, 151,000. So something's really going on all over the place here. An analyst said, in short, the pace of layoffs still remain very high, and it appears that the proportion of newly laid off people quickly finding jobs is falling. So what that means might be that people are still unemployed, but the amount of new unemployment people this week is down. Understand, this is a number based upon how many new unemployment people are, newly unemployed people there are this week. But if they already were unemployed the week before, the number doesn't keep on rising. Okay, now this is very fascinating. Remember that the state bailouts, whether it's state or local bailouts, still remain a big issue of contention. Well, guess who got into the tweeting game on it last night? Yeah, the president. The president came under fire came on the firing end and said, my administration will not allow federal tax dollars to fund cities that allow themselves to deteriorate in lawless zones. He cited Portland, Seattle, Washington, and New York City, and he basically said that he's looking to cut off federal funds going to New York City. Now, I mean, before I get to the numbers, let me go to the rhetoric. Well, Cuomo fired back and said he can't come to New York. He's going to walk down the streets in New York. Forget bodyguards. He better have an army if he thinks he's going to walk down the streets in New York. Of course, people had problems with that comment as well. But here's what I really want to focus on. It's not the rhetoric, is the number. Remember, the big issue for not getting your stimulus checks was this contention about bailouts of state and local, state and cities. And now in this report, it shows that New York City has a shortfall, but a shortfall of $7 billion. How bad is that for a city? Well, the report I detailed to you last night about California and how their use of COVID-19 funds was not well suited at all showed that California's budget shortfall for the entire state of California, the entire state, was $2 billion. So if we're just talking about the city of New York at $9 billion, it's truly crazy. Something's going very wrong in New York, Chuck Schumer land, that no one really wants to explain. Now, why this is so hideously important is that the viewers of this channel and Americans across the country now understand what's going wrong with second stimulus. Second stimulus was held up because Steve Mnuchin said, wait a second, I gave you money under the first stimulus package round for state and local. And I know how much money I gave you. And that money was to provide for what's called budget shortfalls, inability of state and local to make budgets because businesses are closed. They don't have the taxes from the tax revenue of the state and local businesses. Very, very clear. We understand that. Okay, and then we understand they're entitled to money. We also understand what I detailed yesterday from Robert Ravitch, a guru in New York in the 1970s. States can't go bankrupt. There's no such, under Constitution, they're not allowed to go bankrupt. Cities may go bankrupt if they ask permission, but states can't. So states can go loan. There's that thing also. They haven't gotten loans because they want free things like free haircuts. So what's happening is states are not able to meet budget because of COVID-19. That's fine. But they got money the first time around from COVID-19 in the first stimulus package. Now the second time around, do they need additional round of money? Yeah, not a lot. About $150 billion. Some people throw an extra $150 billion on top of them. That's among Mark Meadows' terminology. Throw an extra $150. That puts it at $300 billion. You see numbers like California, they need $2 billion. New York needs $9 billion, which is insane, but it's still a lot. It's still not $100 billion. When you add up all these cities and states across the country, where do you come? $150 billion. Meadows just throws in an additional $150 billion. And then the Temple do. She wants $915 billion. Your stimulus checks have been held up by a woman who's asking for $915 billion when the budget shortfall is upwards of $150 billion and people are offering her $300 and she doesn't want it. The real issue is now coming ahead as the president started to tweet it as well. It's like, wait a second, why are you holding up stimulus for American citizens, American people, American businesses, American families, when all you want to do is allocate the vast majority of it to state and local? This administration seems to think that's all of a sudden going to go away, like angel dust is going to be sprayed all around. Everything's going to go away, said Joe Biden. I don't get it. They have to know better. But the problem is that Joe Biden is getting hurt, very hurt by Nancy Pelosi. He's absolutely getting hurt among Democrats because the problem is that she's not focusing on numbers. She's so focused on superlatives. And she's not doing what's called a focused, targeted solution. That's the goal, to come back and vote upon this. What the Republicans are going to do, and it's not going to look good for the Temple Doom, is they're going to, in the second round of stimulus, which comes after this one, they'll come likely in the first week of October, provide about $650 billion in stimulus for state and local. $650 billion, that'll include about $300 billion for state and local. It also includes some PPP money. She doesn't like that. obviously the name calling continues. Overnight, she said, the Democrats are unified, the Republicans are disarray. Uh, it's not actually true. Democrats have been firing at her all week long, saying, hey, you can't keep on doing this. The problem is that the optics of the situation is really not clear. Whether you are Mark Dugan, an economics professor at Stanford University, and director of the Stanford Institute for Economic Policy, who says California is hemorrhaging money right now. Thank God it's possible for the states to go borrow from the federal government, because without that they'd be in trouble. But ultimately, what we're talking about with second stimulus is not borrowing. They're not borrowing money from the federal government. They're asking for free grant money. And how much grant money they offer asking? They're asking for basically 3 years of free grant money. It seems pretty desperate, says Dugan. It absolutely makes no sense that what they're doing, says insiders. Now, what's also really bad for the optics is that Democrats have said we need extension of FPUC. They've said it. Whether it was the New Age Coalition, I love their trans track. It's New Age. It's, is Dave Koz in that group? Do they offer glow sticks with their stimulus bill? It's them and the Blue Dogs, which are like, Little Bow Wow is a spokesperson, and Snoop and does the other version. They say, hey, you got to get this done. I mean, we can't keep on looking at unemployment benefits and saying, we'll get to it. It doesn't look good for Democrats. If you understand where we are, people are up for re-election. They're up for re-election any minute. I mean, it's just a few weeks away. And so you've seen all those horribly tacky commercials for the Democrats on channels like this one, where it says, pay us, give us money. We haven't given you a stimulus check, but give us money. It's in the fight of their lives. Everyone's fighting for a Senate seat. Republicans are fighting, Democrats are fighting. And do you think someone's not going to give you stimulus under that environment? No. Do you think a Senate Democrat's going to sit back and say, Temple Doom said, don't vote for this bill. I'll win in the primaries. Don't worry, I'm going to win, but I'm not going to give you stimulus because it's a Republican bill. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're all going to skip over the aisle and get things done. Ultimately, it was never in her strategic advantage, says the Temple Doom, to have taken state and local out of a stimulus package and do it in 2 phases, but that's exactly what's happening. And ironically, as Americans look at this and understand the situation after 4 weeks of really not being told anything, not being told numbers, not being told what's going on, they understand it as well. The incredible great news as we start the Thursday morning is that you're informed. You understand what's coming to you. You understand you're getting a second stimulus check. You understand you're getting extension of that PUC benefits. You understand that eviction moratorium was issued 2 days ago. And so you understand why you're entitled to things and why things have been held up. But moreover, you understand really why economically, and when we look at the numbers, why this hasn't been finalized weeks ago. And while there's a lot of blame game going on, the bottom line is you need the checks, and you need them right now. I'm here for you. You're here for all of us. The spirit of this channel continues to grow and continues to surge because everyone is here looking for one another. What you need to understand going forward is that there's going to be bridge gap periods. There's going to be a gap in which the time to get the FPUC benefits. When it's approved, there'll be a time in which you have to wait to get the FPUC benefits. Currently under LWA, which has been incredible, great news the last, 3 days, people are waiting still in some states to get LWA, and they're getting frustrated because they had to wait a week. I gotta tell you, I understand that some of you have been waiting weeks, if not months, for certain of these parts of these stimulus relief items, but you need to simply have patience. So some of you that say, hey, am I going to get the money on Tuesday next week? Am I going to get the money on Wednesday? It's just not going to happen. You're not going to get money next Tuesday or Wednesday. The routing times, the timelines are very clear. It takes 1 day at least for a House to vote on a bill, at least 1 day for a Senate to vote on the bill, at least 1 day for the President to vote on a bill. You have at least 3 days of that to start. That's involving nothing else, not even anyone negotiating on a bill. Then it takes at least 10 days to receive the money. It takes at least 10 days before IRS starts to send out the money. Then you have to wait for processing and routing time. So if you're set up for electronic deposit, if you're on SSDI, SSI, or Social Security benefits, then you have to add additional days for that as well. The important thing to understand is that 10 days, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, that's clearly not 2 or 3 days from now you're going to get a stimulus check. There's a routing time that I've been detailing for weeks. Obviously, it's the lead-up time. That's the focus. How soon the bill is introduced, how soon the bill is approved. And this is the incredible great news. As we sit here today, we understand all this. We understand what's happening, and we understand how quickly it can happen for you. For purposes of FPUC, LWA has been a godsend. States are now paying 5 weeks of LWA. 5 weeks. But when you get to that 6th week, what's going to happen? It absolutely won't be a 6th week of LWA. I mean, I'd be shocked. I will literally be shocked if FEMA comes up and says there's a 6th week of LWA. So at that 6th week on the calendar, you won't be receiving LWA anymore, and you still may not have received FPUC 2.0 because it may not be approved as law yet, or still may be routing to come to you. So I want you to look at the calendar and be financially prepared on this channel. What's going to happen to you at week 6? What's going to happen to you at week 7? What I added to last night's channel was the final program. Instead of a special, I did Q&A. So tonight, tune in for that special. This is the last video of the entire day, which is the second video on Evenings LA. It's generally at about 7:15 Pacific Standard Time, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. I asked you last night, you still can do it as well in the next few hours. Go to that video, watch the video, and then drop in the comments any questions you have about stimulus check, FPUC, PUI, or EIDL. That video, the video has a thumbnail of Evenings LA with fishermen in the image. If you have questions about something specifically for PUA, UI, FPUC, stimulus, EIDL, watch that video and drop it there, and I will answer it tonight. And the question is, am I getting my money on Tuesday? I'm just going to skip that question because we already know the answer is no. It's not going to come next Tuesday. But here I am. I'm here. You are here. Thanks for tuning in. Do me a couple favors. Subscribe to this channel and hit that alert button. We're doing good on subscribers. Our goal is to reach 250,000. Yeah, I think we already passed 50,000. 250,000 in 2 weeks from last weekend. So we're on path. I don't remember where we are this morning. I think we're at 233, 232. So we're trying to get to 50,000, add 20,000 subscribers. Tell your friends, like and share these videos on Facebook. Post them on Twitter. It really helps. Next, like the videos. That's one of the most important things. There's still really bad people ranking high, and I'm trying my best. You try your best by liking the video. If you are one of the viewers that watches these videos that doing 150,000 views, please like the video. It's just this, you can hit it twice if you want. Well, actually, don't hit it twice. That'll unlike it. You can hit it 3 times or 5 times, but not twice or 4 times. That's always these little twists. And coming up this afternoon is Afternoons LA at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time, starting with the check. Finally, with Afternoons LA, I want to make just a personal note. Afternoons LA has 4 shows. The first one is the check. The second one's hazard pay. The third one is unemployment. And the fourth one is rent. I got to tell you, I have a gazillion people that are sending me questions saying, where's hazard pay? It's at 4 o'clock every day. 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're like, do you still do hazard pay? I've done hazard pay every single day for like 2 months. Other question I get is, can you go over what's happening with UI? I'm like, I do it every day. That's at 4:30 and 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. I may try to bring the videos a little earlier in the day. If you have any comments or questions about when you think better times you think are for broadcast times, drop it in the comments. Doesn't mean I'm going to move it, but I certainly appreciate your feedback to gauge what works best for more viewers. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.